The emotion code is by far the simplest and one of the most powerful energy healing methods I've ever come across. I've seen it overcome many issues without any need to discuss or relive painful memories, or even to be in the same place as the person working on us. Over the next few minutes, we'll be finding out what the emotion code is and what sort of difference it can make to our lives. The emotion code, like all energy healing, is based on the idea that we are all energy. Ancient traditions have known this for millennia, and in recent times it's been proven by modern science. If you zoom in really closely on your hand, or a chair, or a blood cell, or any piece of matter, eventually you'll see only particles with huge amounts of space between them. Zoom in closer on these particles and you'll find ever smaller particles with vast distances between them. And at the heart of each one is not solid matter, but whirlpools of energy, each vibrating at its own frequency. That's all that makes up what we call the material world. When we bang a fist on the table resists because the whirlpools of energy that constitute it are vibrating fast enough to stop it. As if we were trying to put our hand through a hurricane, the force of the rapidly swirling energy stops us. And it's not only us who are made of energy, vibrating at various frequencies, but also colours, sounds, thoughts, and anything else you can imagine, including emotions. Difficult situations arise in life. And if we're in an emotionally healthy condition, we undergo them, experience what we need to, and move on. The problem comes when we're confronted with an uncomfortable emotion at a time when we're stressed or overwhelmed and we don't feel we have the resources to deal with what life's presenting us. Dealing with an intense emotion might be more than we feel we can handle at that time. So we subconsciously decide not to deal with it. Rather than allowing it to complete its process through us, we opt instead to store it unprocessed or partially processed within us. It makes it easier for us to get through that moment, but it can store big trouble for later. When stored in the body like this, it's no longer an emotion, it's a ball of energy that can go anywhere and cause any sort of issue. It might be physical. For example, you could hurt your leg exercising, and if there are no trapped emotions there, it's likely to recover quickly, unless other complications are already there. But if it persists, perhaps becoming more tender, or worsens, trapped emotions stored in that area could well be the reason. I've done many emotion code sessions where I've seen a client's physical pain or restricted movement visibly improve in front of my eyes as we release these trapped emotions.
Look at this, I'm exercising now.
Yeah.
It's like I couldn't do this when we first started. It was like I couldn't even hold the phone. So
it could also be emotional. Depending where the energy goes to in the body, it could trigger the emotion centers to create more emotions that can in turn be trapped and compound the issue. Releasing trapped emotions is one of the most beneficial things that can be done to improve quality of life. While creating the emotion code, Dr. Bradley Nelson discovered a previously unknown phenomenon. He found that at particularly difficult or traumatic times of life, we use a mechanism to protect ourselves. We build an energetic wall around our hearts to stop us from having to experience the full intensity of the situation. But the body is an extremely efficient system. Where would this additional energy come from? What happens is, we appropriate a few of these energy balls that have come from our trapped emotions and use them to create a shield. He called this shield a heart wall. The heart wall does its job. It does protect us from having to endure at full strength the intensity of what's happening to us at a time where we might not be able to bear it. But once we have found a way to change our life situation and move on, the heart wall doesn't come down, it remains in place. With all this shielding, it becomes impossible for the heart to give and receive what it was built to give and receive. We remain partially detached from others, and we find ourselves unconsciously attracting rejection or confrontation or failure, or not moving forward in an area of our lives. Sometimes our whole lives can feel directionless and miserable. It affects each person differently, but I've never worked with anybody who doesn't have a heart wall. The Emotion Code was created by Dr. Bradley Nelson to deal with the problems caused by trapped emotions, including the heart wall. It does this by identifying and releasing them one by one. Many people experience immediate and dramatic changes after a few trapped emotions are released. For others, it's more gradual or incremental. When I released my own heart wall at the beginning, I was disappointed. Nothing seemed to have changed. It was only a few months later, when I looked back over that period, that I realized how dramatically different my life had become. My inner sense of well-being and balance was much higher. Significant new opportunities and new directions were opening up for me as I became clearer about my direction. And people had started reacting to me differently. I was somehow attracting much less negativity from others and more kindness, while my relationships were becoming more and more harmonious. And as I've released more and more of these trapped emotions from myself, this has only gone on improving. And it's a common experience, because as we release these imbalances from our systems naturally rebalance themselves. As a result, we can feel more connected to the world around us, giving and inviting positivity, responding to others on a natural and intuitive level, and manifesting the sort of life we've always aspired to. Once you've experienced the Emotion Code, you'll see how powerful it is and how surprisingly simple. You might decide to learn it for yourself. It's a profoundly useful tool to have to help you deal with situations as they arise. You may have been sent this video by an Emotion Code practitioner who can work on you. If not, there are over 5,000 of them across many countries. And if you don't find one near you, this work is most often done remotely via something like Zoom, so it should be easy to find someone who can work with you. At Heartful Healing, we work with clients all over the world using a vastly extended version of the Emotion Code, also created by Dr. Nelson, called the Body Code. This will be the subject of the next video. To find out more and book, visit heartfulhealing.co.uk.